The Dallas Wings just selected Paige Bueckers first overall in the 2025 WNBA Draft. She joins a pretty uninspiring franchise whose roster construction suggests they're trying to win, but hasn't had the success to substantiate that claim. The franchise moved from Tulsa to Dallas in the 2016 season, yet they haven't had a season with a winning percentage above 60% since they resided in Detroit in 2008, a literal 1,000 miles away. If Dallas hasn't spent a season on the treadmill of mediocrity, they've had a miserably unsuccessful season. With the Wings, Paige Bueckers might just be destined for failure. Let's start on the positive side. The Dallas Wings just drafted Paige Bueckers. Her college career is as storied as Greek mythology. She has an essence and assurance about her that emits a feeling of stability and excellence. The weight of the world could be on her shoulders and she'd forge a path. We'll get to her play momentarily, but first, what's she walking into? The Dallas Wings roster construction leaves a lot to be desired. First off the rip is the loss of Satou Sabally. She would have been the perfect partner to go with Bueckers. They would have an immediate symbiosis in all facets of running an offense. They can both play off-ball, score with the ball, and play make for each other. Bueckers had a healthy diet of backdoor cuts which she turned into easy layups with UConn. Sabally would have been the perfect player to find her on these cuts while dragging out the opposing big. Now I'm not sure who would be making this read and pass to boot. The Wings' front court consists of Tiara McCowan, who is going into her age 28 season and has always had questions about her attitude and effort. I don't know any players who have turned this switch in year 7, especially after showing no signs of doing so in her first 6 years. I understand how she'll complement Bueckers in theory, I'm not sure how it'll go in reality. Nalissa Smith is a pretty perfect pickup to go alongside Bueckers, as they operate in different spaces. I'd like to see how the two of them develop a two-player game, and Smith fits the timeline. She's also a great competitor. They also added Myisha Hines-Allen, who's a great pickup and showed the very best of herself as the first big off the bench in a winning situation with the Minnesota Lynx. I think that's where she thrives, but her professionalism and ability are both incredibly well suited for Bueckers, so hopefully we see the two of them form some form of synergy. There are a couple of good signs in the front court, and if the Wings started both Hines-Allen and Smith, then it would get the most out of Bueckers. As for the backcourt, this is where the fit gets iffy. Dejanay Carrington is an awesome agenda setter and can demand that the game start on her team's terms. However, her efficiency, along with Arike Ogunbowale, is tremendously low. Both players are hovering around the 40% mark for their careers, with Ogunbowale being closer to 39. I've long held the belief that both of these players are the perfect engines as the first sub off the bench, but as for the fit with Bueckers, I don't think either of them complement her well in the backcourt. If I missed your favourite Dallas Wing, then apologies, but we need to get to Paige. With UConn, a lot of her baskets were assisted or the result of an offense that had a lot of movement. I mentioned the backdoor cuts before, let's take a look at this play. On the first handoff to Paige, everyone else in the offense is moving, shifting the defense. Each defender is so focused on their assignment that they give up a cut from the weak side wing to the strong side block. The D is late and that's an and one, showing Paige's balance and adaptability. Although a WNBA defense will have bigger, faster athletes and will have more structure and theory to it, this paints a good caricature to show where Bueckers has had success and how far it will be from the Dallas offense. To me, this next play is more like something Paige might see with Dallas. The team are beat behind on every decision, somewhat purposeless, and static across the court, yet she still has the ability to attack from here. An attack from the top of the key eventuating in a turnaround jump shot and one is crazy, but this is just who Paige is. This is an interesting one here because it's a simple and well-run out-of-bounds play that looks a lot like a play the Wings would run. It's a bit more straightforward across the board and allows an avenue to make a decision from the top, also highlighting her ability to finish in multiple ways. This one was well responded to by UConn. After a messy entry to the lane, they rebalance. She doesn't always have to do her work at the rim, opening up a lane from the arc and finishing the opportunity she creates. Or this, although a bit more characteristic of college players who don't have the experience to readjust themselves the same way professionals do. Anyway, a fumble to start which turns into a messy alignment and poor balance, yet Paige turns it into a layup. She also brings elite three-point shooting at 43% across her college career. Everything is super random on this play, but even through the chaos she finds clarity and hits a three. This one's really impressive. How good of a shooter do you need to be to cash out on a wing handoff with the passer cutting from the top of the key to the strong side corner? Or this, just give me the ball, stare down. Or here, I can see her being in this situation quite frequently, and if the defender dares to go under, look at how long she takes to pull the three. She identifies the advantage as soon as the defender decides to go under and walks into the shot so comfortably, keeping her eyes on the rim. It looks like the defender gets a good contest, but she's actually making no difference at all. In the 2020s, each first overall pick has entered a situation that suits them. Sabrina Ionescu had an insanely young roster around her as she navigated her skill set. Ryan Howard had the same. and look at the perennial all-stars they've blossomed into. Aaliyah Boston was drafted by Indiana right at the depth of their trough, and rerouted the organization into a developmental phase that was well on the uptick before selecting Caitlin Clark first last year. The only name that isn't on that list is Charlie Collier, who was drafted by the Wings funnily enough, entering a situation in which the roster was trying to win but maxed out as a 14 and 18 team that had Ogunbowale and McCowan back then still looking like the same players they are today. I'm happy to call mulligan for both Collier and the Wings on that one, as they had the first pick in a pretty unremarkable draft. The other 4 rookies I named are genuine stars of the league and wore the responsibility of being the franchise centerpiece with poise and grace. Bueckers has shown that she'll be the same, and has already given WNBA fans the hope that she'll be one of the all-time greats. Those other first picks, however, entered environments that were conducive to young talent and grew alongside them. Bueckers is entering a team that's trending downward and looks like they'll keep going that way. She's a lifeline for a listless franchise, and the Wings better tidy up the roster so that she can work alongside her new employer, rather than against them.